All right, so let me ask you this. I mean, do you think bin Laden was even there that day? Did whoever, whether it was Red or Rob or anybody, did they kill the real bin Laden that day or that night?
Well, there are obviously there are a lot of different stories on
Yeah.
what that night was, and then whether or not that was really Bin Laden. Do you know who
I do
Congressman
know
Curt
who
Wheldon is?
Congressman Curt Wheldon is, and we'll talk about
Yeah,
that in a second. And the reason I just thought of that question is when you said a few minutes ago, when I said, when was this? 2009? You said 2011, just before the election. So all of a sudden in my mind, I'm like, holy shit, that was when Obama was ready to run for his second term. And again, people weren't that happy with his first term. I remember that. So I forget who he was up against, whether that was Mitt Romney or. Okay, so that was Mitt
Mitt
Romney.
Romney. Yeah,
You know,
Romney.
could they have done that whole "we just killed Osama bin Laden" because they needed a win going into the election?
Well, I have
Hmm,
two thoughts on that that I'm willing to accept as
okay.
probable, not possible. The probability of it not being Bin Laden is 50-50 for me at best. What I do believe is that it was a coordinated CIA, Pakistani intelligence, Iranian intelligence, and Saudi intelligence basically threw Bin Laden into the wood, into the middle of that, and knew that he was going to be killed. Like I think that was
Yeah.
he had served his purpose. I believe he was probably dying already, and this was the end of the Bin Laden story. And the best way to do that was to make sure that nobody got hurt, nobody responded, nobody did anything, and the good guys win. And SEAL Team Six can be credited for it by, you know, Obama and Biden at different times, and then the world can be happy that the world's most hated terrorist is dead, and Obama wins his reelection. That's what I believe is the probable thing that happened. Now, if you listen to Curt Wheldon, who I'm a very big fan of, he was my
Mhm.
congressman when I lived in Pennsylvania. He is a passionate guy for first responders and firefighters and law enforcement and the military. Was super powerful at the time when 9/11 happened, as far as his positioning in the House of Representatives and the different committees he was on. When 9/11 happened, he had doubts, and he had doubts on the genesis of it. He had doubts on the planes
Right,
actually bringing the buildings down. He had doubts on, there's a lot of things he had doubts on, and he publicly
right.
said those things. And they went after him and pretty much got him removed from office in '06. They primaried him, and he got beat. And it was a lot of
Yeah.
deep state money that went into his the person that primaried him, and he just got outspent and and outworked at the game. And but it did, and then he went
Yeah, they
quiet
went
because they went
after
after
his
his
daughter.
daughter.
He went quiet from '06, quite frankly, to 2 months ago when he went on Tucker Carlson. And now, obviously there's a lot more attention being brought back to Curt Weldon. I know he was a skeptic of 9/11 for sure. Was he a skeptic of the bin Laden killing?
Well, he was a skeptic of
Okay.
where Bin Laden was
Okay.
and who knew that. So I have a source he's not anonymous. He is and he's got his own credibility. His name's Nick Noe, Noe. He was an Air Force intel guy,
Mhm.
whistleblower for Benghazi. And he befriended a guy named Alan Perot, who was the falconer for all of the Middle
Okay.
East royalty. So
Okay.
teaching
Oh, Falconer.
Falcon
Oh,
people how
literally,
to
like
control
teaching
falcons.
people how to
Yeah, yeah,
I think Robert F. Kennedy Jr. is a big falconer. Okay,
yeah. So that's a, obviously a
got it.
wealthy pastime. And one of the four sources that Curt Weldon had that Iran was involved in the removal and hiding of Osama bin Laden was Alan Perot,
Mhm.
the falconer, who had received word that the falcons that he trained for Osama bin Laden
Oh,
were in
wow.
Iran. And which means that, I mean, they don't travel without their falcons. It's this, I don't know why, but they don't. So if the Falcons are there, that means the person that controls the Falcons are there, and that means that the person who owns all of it is there. So, and that was four different independent sources that Curt Weldon had saying that Osama bin Laden was in Iran, and that's a fact that lends to the story of what happened to Osama bin Laden after 9/11, right? Was he in Tora Bora? Was he in the caves of Afghanistan? Was he in the caves of Pakistan? Was he in Islamabad? Where was he? He was definitely in Iran
Okay.
for quite a while. And I believe he was sent to Pakistan not long before the
Okay.
raid.
Okay. All right.
That's my gut says that's what happened. Now I know the other side is that it was a body double and
I
yada
mean, I
yada yada.
think what
I
you're
don't
saying
I
is
don't
completely plausible, and mainly because I feel like bin Laden served his purpose for the deep state, and we'll talk about that in a second. And yeah, they're probably like, okay, he served his purpose. Now on the chessboard, let's move him to this compound in Pakistan, and then we need something to rally the American people. We've got an election coming up. Let's take bin Laden out with SEAL Team 6, and then maybe, gosh, maybe Red didn't want the glory, and they said, Rob, you're going to get the glory. And Rob said, okay, I'll take it. God, who knows?
Want the full truth? Watch the full Deep Shallow Dive interview next. And hit subscribe if you're done with narratives and ready to call a spade a spade.